Hi, this is David here at Highland Campervans and welcome to the handover video of this Toyota Alphard. In this video we're going to take you around the major operations of the van just to get you all settled for your first few trips away. Now what I do recommend is that you maybe bookmark the video or maybe download it to your device so you have it handy when you're out and about. All I have to say is please enjoy the video and I will catch you at the other end. So as you enter your Toyota, you are going to be greeted with the habitation control device, which is this silver box just here. Now what this does, this will turn on the 12-volt socket for the van. It will allow you to put the water pump on and allow you to turn the light circuits on as well. So first things first, we're going to press the power button and this will light up the lower lights on board as part of the entry lights for the van. And then if we want to put the main lights on, we put the main lights on with this switch just here, and that will put on the rest of the lighting circuit for us. If we want to run the water, then we use the water pump to turn on here, and this will then allow the water pump to action when we use the sink. We then have our leisure battery status and our vehicle battery status. Now these also act as selector switches as well. So by default, it'll be on leisure battery. And if we want to see the leisure battery status, we hold the button down and then we can see on the indicator the level of power in the leisure battery. If we need to switch the vehicle to the vehicle battery, maybe because we're out in the field, the leisure batteries get a little bit weak and we need a bit more power, we can switch to the vehicle battery like so. And again, you get a quick indication of the levels just here. And if you want to check the level, hold the button down and you can see the level again. And then switching back across to the leisure mode. And that there is our habitation control panel. Inside your Toyota Campervan, you're going to find your Dometic fridge. That is just below the habitation control as you come on into the van. Now your fridge is a fairly straightforward unit to use. We open the door like so, and then in order to turn the fridge on, we hold the button just here, and this will power our fridge unit on. So give it a second, and there we go, and that will now power our fridge on. So we have our level of power just here, and this is controlled by using the temperature button, and that will then increase the level like so. And then we have our interior light here as well. So up the top here, the little blue tag is the ventilator. So if the fridge wasn't being used and the campervan's being laid up, this will pop this out to ventilate the fridge. But for when you're using the fridge normally, just swing it in, and it's just a case of closing the door like so. And that there covers our Dometic fridge. Control function that we need to make you aware of. So the first one here, located just by the kitchen counter, is the Pro X gas heater system. You also have a little light switch for the kitchen lights here, and then you have a USB socket just here as well. Just up above is the gas switch for the LPG tank. So if you want to use any gas device in this van, you do need to turn this on first. So press the button here. That will then turn the gas supply on, and the indicator there will let you see roughly how much gas is still available to you for use. So let's have a look at the gas heater. So the gas heater, the Pro X system here, allows you to heat or ventilate depending on what you want to do, and that is controlled with the dial knob at the top. So the first position is off, and then ventilate, and then heat, and then below that is your temperature controller. So let's turn on the ventilator. So we're going to rotate this one click, and that there will turn just the fan on. So this is great if the van is really hot, maybe a lovely sunny day, and you just want to blow a bit of cold air out inside the van. But today's a bit colder, so we're going to put it onto heat mode. So that there now will start to warm up, and this here is the controller for the heat. So let's dictate how much heat we actually want out of our Pro X system. Now it's not common to hear a little bit of a noise from the fan just down the bottom here. So there's the fan just down here. So you may hear a bit of a blow noise. That is perfectly normal behavior. And when you switch this off, especially if you've been heating, the fan will continue to run for a few more minutes as it runs down through a cool down cycle. Again, perfectly normal behavior. So let's turn this off. Okay, and let's move on to your kitchen sink. So kitchen sink is located near the front of the van, and you have two sections here. You have your hob rings and then you have your kitchen sink just hiding over here. Now the kitchen sink is fairly straightforward. You need to make sure there's water in the fresh tank, which will be covered in another part of this video. And on the habitation control panel, you need to make sure that you have turned the water pump on. If you haven't turned the water pump on, you won't get water through the tap. So to use the tap, let's just lift it up a little bit and then open up the tap control, and that then allows the flow of water into the sink. Now please bear in mind that the water supply in the van is cold only. The van does not generate any hot water. So if you're wanting hot water for doing dishes, I recommend that you use a camp stove first, boil a little bit of water, and then put it into your sink to do your dishes. Now, as part of your winterization, it is very important to make sure that you drain the tank. Now the way to do this on the Alphard is it's the old-fashioned way, where you basically open the tap and you let the water run until the water doesn't come through any further. Once that is done, turn the water pump off, and then what to do is leave the tap open. That allows any moisture to escape from the tank during winterization of your vehicle. So let's move on to the gas side of things. So I'm going to show you the gas rings. So the gas rings have two controllers, one here and one here, and then there is a sparker igniter just here to allow you to turn the gas systems on. Now obviously, to use the gas, you do need to make sure that you have turned the gas supply on. As we saw in the earlier part of this video, you need to turn on the gas tank to allow the gas to flow. And this is a simple case of turning the gas on and then allow the gas to flow through here, and then using our sparker. I'll see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. So that's ring 1. And then I'll see if I can get ring 2. There we go, and that's ring 2. So that is our gas, and we can control the flow of gas by just using the little regulator to the side here, and that then allows us to turn the gas on and off. Now when you are traveling in your van, I do recommend that you turn the gas supply off. If you are on a train or a ferry crossing, you will need to provide evidence to the officials that you have turned the gas supply on, and that is a simple case of returning to the gas controller, pressing the button here, and that then disables the gas system entirely. So that covers our gas tank control, the Pro X heater, the kitchen sink and winterization for the sink, and our gas systems there. Next, we're going to have a look about how to lower the bed down in your Toyota Campervan. Now the bed on this is a very simple rock and roll bed mechanism. Just down the front, there is a handle just here, and all we need to do is lift the seat base up and then slide everything forward. So let me do that for you. So we're going to lift the base up, and then we're going to slide the whole thing forward nice and gently, just to control the descent, like so. And that there is our bed base. So you can put down a topper onto the bed if you want to. There are plenty of companies that offer them, like Panda Toppers, Duvet. If you want to put a little mattress on top of this, it's quite a not bad thing to do. To put the bed back up again, what you need to do is a kind of two-handed operation. So you need to get a hand on the front of the seat and this leather here, and then push and pull at the same time, like so. Once the seat is up, you don't need this lever anymore. You can just continue to pull the seat forward and then drop it back down, and then give it a little tug, make sure it has locked in place, and that there is the seat returned back into its normal position. How do we raise the roof in the Toyota Campervan? Now this is a very straightforward process. So the first thing we need to do is bring these straps down so we can get access to the ratchet parts of those straps. So let's loosen these off. Now what I like to do with the straps is I just like to bring them all the way to the bottom, but don't actually take them fully off. So a couple of things away from the bottom. And same on this one here. We're going to pull this through, a couple of bits from the bottom, like so. That means we've got plenty of travel on these straps when we're ready to push the roof up. So when you're ready to raise the roof, grab the two handles just at the top here, so there's one either side, give the roof a good firm push up, and the roof will then carry on up by itself. Now there are a couple of roof boards. Let me just bring the camera up and into the top. So there are a couple of roof boards just here. So if you want to use the top deck as a sleep-in deck, you can extend it right across to make a bigger bed area. At the very back, you have a wind strap, which is adjustable just here, and there is a light at the very back for anyone using this top deck. The wind strap's job is just to control movement on the side here, as it were. So if the wind's getting a bit strong and you want a bit more tension, you can tighten the strap up here to add a little bit more tension. You do also have these, let me just lower this down, the little side windows. So they unzip, zip round, and then you can roll them up and use the little buckles just here if you wish to. But a top tip from me, easiest way to do this, because sometimes these buckles can get a little bit jammed, is don't bring the zips down to about a couple of fingers, like so on either side, and then roll and tuck, just like that. Much easier way to do it, as it were. So you have screen ventilation, there's a perspex window at the front, and then there's a screen ventilation on the other side of the van here as well. So when we're ready to put the roof down, we do need to make sure that we have got the boards level. Try to avoid stacking them all up at the back here, because as the roof comes down, it's going to squish on top of the boards. You want to make sure that the boards are level. You can have one stacked here, that's absolutely fine, but try and avoid stacking all three if necessary. We do obviously need to make sure we shut any window vent that is open. So let's shut this one up just now. Okay. And then when we bring the roof down, it's very important that we make sure, you can see here the outline, there is the hinge for the roof. So as we bring the roof down, we need to make sure that we are pulling the sides in as the roof is coming down, as it were, and that avoids the canvas getting trapped in the mechanism. Now on this particular van, the wind strap here definitely helps, because it provides a bit of tension to the back of the van. So as we're running the roof down, we don't need to pull the canvas as hard. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you just now. Now it is a little tricky here for me with the camera as well. I'm just going to move the camera. Let's move the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to pull the roof down, and you can see that the roof has started to bow on in. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm pulling the canvas in like so as I'm lowering the roof. So I'm going to move the camera down, and we're going to lower the roof just now. I'm just going to raise the camera up so you can see my actions. So let's do the roof. So we're going to bring the roof down, and as I said, we're going to tuck, pull and tuck, and then we're going to bring the front window in as well. So let's just get our fingers on that and pull that in. Make sure it's all nice and tucked in, so it's not going to get trapped under the roof. Once we're satisfied, we can bring the roof down to the final point, like so, nice and gently. Now what I would recommend at this point is, just before you strap everything up, is just have a run around outside and just check to make sure there is no canvas visible on the roof line. If there is, it's just a case of just push up the roof a little bit and pull that canvas in. It's very important you get the canvas tucked in so it avoids getting it trapped on those rear hinges. So once we're satisfied, it's just a case of tightening our straps back up. So we're going to pull this through. Now I recommend traveling with some spare roof straps. Now the reason for that is that in case one of these straps fails, because this is the only way the roof is being held down, then you have a spare strap to replace it. The straps are not expensive and they're easy to obtain. There are plenty of supplies online where you can get these straps from. And we're going to pull this strap through, pull it down nice and tight. Okay, and once you're satisfied that's tight enough, I always give the roof just a little push. Make sure there's no movement on that roof. That is absolutely fine. And the last thing to do, this is just me being neat, is tuck your straps out of the way. And that just makes things all nice and tidy. And there we go. And that is the roof going up and down. So the fundamentals of the roof is obviously to make sure that when you're bringing the roof down, that you're making sure that the canvas is all tucked out of the way and there's no possibility the canvas is getting trapped on the roof itself, as it were. And there we go. Now this particular Toyota Alphard has an underslung gas tank. So that means that there's no gas bottle on board this particular vehicle. So how do we refill it? That's easy. So at the back of the van, down on the near side, you will have this little cap down here. Now this is the refill point for the gas bottle system. Now you can get gas through various different outlets. Now Highland Campervans has a full service point with gas refill. Some local gas agents will have refillable points as well, and you have LPG auto gas stations available up and down the country as well. More campsites are also starting to introduce refillable gas. Now, to refill the gas, we remove the cover and then we connect our gas connector to this. If you're driving in the continent, you will need to have some sort of adapters. Certain countries use slightly different sizes of connectors, so it's recommended that you carry your own adapters. And then that's it. Once you're done, you just replace the cover, and then that is your gas supply all sorted out. On the driver's side of the Toyota, you're going to find your service points. So these are located just here under these two control flaps. So the one in black, that is the electric hookup point, and that's where you would hook up your electrical cable. Now, top tip when moving plug-in electric cables is you don't want to travel with a live cable. What you want to do is you want to insert your cable into the van first and then plug the cable into your service point, be it an electrical socket at home or a camp service station, and then turn the power system on. The reason we do that, as I said, so you don't travel with a live cable. Now, unplugging the van is just reverse the process. You disconnect the van from the energy source, and then you can finally disconnect it from the actual van itself. The one on the right in the slightly grey colour is the water. So open that flap there, open that up, and then you can fill water onto the van itself. Now the van has an overflow, so if you start seeing water pouring out the bottom of the van just down here, it means the tank is overflowing and you need to stop putting water in. The tank is only small, so it won't take too long to fill. And then once you're done, just replace the little blue cap just here, and don't forget to shut the service flap. And that there covers the service points on your Toyota. Tucked in the cupboard and the back of the van, you're going to see this power supply unit. Now the power supply unit's job here is to regulate the power devices through the van. So that's determine which battery is being used, how the batteries are being charged, etc. But the most important thing about this is that this houses your fuse board and your trip fuses. So under the flap on the left, you are going to find all the fuses for the vehicle. These are standard car fuses, and then just below that you have all the locations for the fuses and what each fuse is doing. I would definitely recommend that you carry on board a pack of spare fuses. The systems on campervans, they are designed to pop fuses rather than damage devices, so definitely carry some spares with you in case you need them. On the opposite side are the RDC trip board. Just hide on the head if you can see that under my finger. There we go. And then you've got your yellow tester switch just here. So if you're on an electrical hookup and you want to test the breaker circuit, you just press the little yellow button and that will action a trip action on your fuse board. There is a master switch at the top there. So if you're winterizing your van and you don't want any part of the leisure circuit to be switched on, you can completely shut down the entire rear section of your van by using the red button at the very top just here.
So there we go, that was a how-to video for the Toyota Alphard. I hope you find it useful and it gets you all settled ready for your first few adventures away. But don't forget, myself, David, and the rest of the team at Highland Campers are always on hand to give you any helpful tips, advice, or if you have any queries that you need to help us answer. All that's left for me to say is I wish you many happy miles motoring in your new van, and we look forward to seeing you again here at Highland Campervans. Bye for now.